All right, we're live here on the air with the Gamers Channel. This is the channel made for the gamers, by the gamers, for the gamers of the United States, United Nations, outer space, inner space, wherever you can be in the virtual dimension, or even in the Matrix where Sean is. And so, with that, I have Sean Foreman,
I'm about to let you know how far this rabbit hole goes.
and we have Will Weiniger.
I don't even have any witty response right now. I'm just excited to be in a Google Hangout with Lawrence Fishburne.
Good stuff. This episode, we are taking it to part 2 of games to movies, DVDs, Blu-ray, wherever you can think of. This time, we're going to focus more so on comics and mangas, what I think that's what they call it. Well, I pretty much call them animes. So we're going to see how they went from movies to video games to comic books or vice versa and all those different things and flipped all over the place and how the comic book probably didn't mesh with the movie or the video games or things like that. I know it's confusing, but we're going to explain that a little bit further. And so with those things, Sean, would you like to start us off with that?
Sure. Ever since we were talking about this on the Facebook chat, I had an idea. Sort of want to piggyback of what we talked about last week. Now, we just briefly talked about how an established canon can really make it easy for adaptations to occur. I mean, we were talking about the Mario Brothers game. We were talking about a Street Fighter game and other games that have come out during our youth, and then movies were spawned off of those early video games. Usually, these video games, when they first came out, or the first versions of these video games, they don't really have an established story, especially nowadays. When a new IP is formed, uh, the developers usually focus less on the story and focus more on the gameplay and what will actually sell. What's the kind of gameplay that can attract as many gamers as possible, all right? It's all about the gameplay and a little less about the story, right? It's usually in the later iterations of the game, sequels, once that first game really hits it out of the park, in which developers will say, hey, this is actually interesting to the public, so let's elaborate more on the story, and then we'll give them more of what the people want out of this universe that people seem to love, right? But when these adaptations came about, the people who saw these very popular games when they first came out, they didn't really know what to do with it. Actually, they just wanted to capitalize on this very popular franchise, right? Let's go back to let's say for example Street Fighter 2. We talked about this last week. Um, Street Fighter 2 was a very popular 2D fighting game that had 8 individual fighters, each with their own storyline. Now there were comic books, and of course the movie with John Claude Van Damme that pretty much tried to take all of these individual characters and create a canon such that they all somehow knew each other, and they had to try to figure out their relationships and which was the main character, who fought who, and all that good stuff, right? So it was very very weird, especially when it came to the early Malibu comic books, which Street Fighter, the canon behind Street Fighter with those books was you had the Street Fighters going against the evil Shadaloo syndicate or whatnot. It was like G.I. Joe versus Cobra. So what does it take to be a Street Fighter? Reed had absolutely no idea. So it was pretty weird. It wasn't until the animated movie, Street Fighter 2, the animated movie, in which we got a glimpse of all of these characters really being fleshed out. There was enough for the actual developers of the game to create enough canon for this awesome work to come about. I mean, we had relationships between real relationships between the characters. Who knew who didn't know who had to investigate who was the main character, who was the main villain, how did they interact with each other, what other character was going to be utilized in such a way in order to be the herald or the villain or some sort of a joker of some sort. I mean, it was all well thought out, and that was pretty much the process. It required so much canon, so much time between this original game that really didn't have a story to when that first real good work of art that came out that actually fleshed out the canon that all future works would go off of, such as the Udon line of comics and Street Fighter Alpha anime and the other comic books that came out thereafter. I mean, there's even going to be a fanfic coming out in the middle of this month called Street Fighter Assassin's Fist. So I'm looking forward to all of that, and it was all born over pretty much a large development of time between that original work and these fan works that were born out of all of these characters and environments. So yeah, that's what I want to say. That's all I have to say about that.
Okay.
Good stuff. Good stuff. So now with that, talked about Street Fighter. I was like, man, we still into Street Fighter. Let's see if we'll have anything else you'd like to talk about in the comic book and anime area.
Well, like I said last week, when I talked about the Iron Man movie and how it actually translated to a game, and like most video games, movie adaptations into video games, they're fairly short in terms of story. But I think really what I wanted to talk about this week, at least in terms of comics, and I brought this up last week, which Sean thanked me for, was actually the Ultimate Spider-Man game. The original Ultimate Spider-Man. For those that don't know, Ultimate Spider-Man is now Miles Morales. Peter Parker died, though I think, spoiler alert, in the new issue, I think somehow Peter Parker's like at the end, he's still alive or something. I don't really know where they're going with that, but the new Spider-Man Ultimate Now series, Miles Morales Spider-Man. But back when it was still just Peter Parker, they released a video game for it. It was very open world, sandbox, and it was just really fun. There were missions, like a lot of the side missions were just like really random stuff too. Like oh hey, someone's being mugged, running, save them real quick. Or one fun thing to do that I just like to do personally in the game is sit on top of a car and let the car just pat around like in the program path. That was always really fun. Johnny Storm, like one of the missions, like there were like I think 3 or 4 different race missions racing Johnny Storm, and that game, honestly, it translated well. The combat was smooth. It was one of those games I really enjoyed in terms of a comic book game because before that, I mean, what we had Superman 64. No, thank you. We had just say it. I mean, terrible game is terrible. We had Superman 64. I think one of the Spider-Man games before that. Like, it always seems to be Spider-Man games are always really decent. But there was one. I don't remember which Spider-Man game it was. But it had, I think it was based off the 90s animated series. It was like for PlayStation 1 or 2. But you had like guys like Electro and the Shocker guy. I don't remember his name, but he had like the red and yellow suit, and he had like these weird wristband things. That may have been their version of Electro. I don't remember, but it was a really fun one to play. I know they've made a couple other ones. One I really enjoyed were the They were a beat 'em up kind of game, and you got the you picked your team as X-Men. Was it X-Men Legends? Was that what it's called? No, that wasn't it. It was X-Men something. The sequel was called like Age of Apocalypse or something like that. And you could pick from like your team, combine X-Men with the Brotherhood of Mutants, and it was just really fun game to play. Like I said, just a good old-fashioned beat 'em up, and you could switch between different people in your team. You could pull off combos. You got special bonuses if you pick certain members for your team.
Yeah, I think you're talking about Marvel Alliance.
This is different. This one was out for like a long time ago for like PlayStation 1 and 2. Hold on, let me see if I can look it up real quick. And then there've been a few other games that they honestly weren't that good. I'm trying to think of one of them was it was X-Men Legends. I think the Wolverine Origins games, yeah, that one was pretty terrible. But yeah,
Yeah.
it was X-Men Legends, and there's a sequel which was X-Men Legends 2.
Yeah.
I remember as Age of Apocalypse, and that, like I said, that was the one I played. It was really fun just to beat 'em up, and like I said, you just got certain specials bonuses too. Like if you picked an all-female team, you got like so much extra or something, or if you picked like certain other like teammates together, you got a bonus for this or bonus for that. It was like I said, it was just fun. Um, Another one in particular that strikes me in terms of comics to video games, and really, it's let me put it just personally, it really just reminds me more of the Batman animated series, but the Batman Arkham games. Smooth combat, fairly open world. Well, in the newer one, a lot more open world than as opposed to the previous two, but still, and you still kind of have the side things. There's just random thugs, running around. You can go beat them up, or there's all the other bonus side missions too, which almost feel like part of the story as well. Like for example, in Arkham City, there was the Mad Hatter thing when you think you found the cure, and it's really just an illusion pulled by him. And really, what made those games great is because they got a lot of the original voice actors from the animated series. You had Mark Hamill playing Joker. You had, of course, Kevin Conroy as Batman. I'm pretty sure the same voice actor that was Alfred was in that as well. I'm not sure about anyone else. I'm pretty sure Cobblepot, Penguin, I'm pretty sure that was a different guy. Definitely a different guy because he sounded much more gruff and cogny and but like I said, just overall fun game. And then that's something I kind of noticed too. Like a lot of the more fun ones do almost have that open world sort of element, or like game plus mode, stuff like that. So yeah, I think that pretty much sums up my deal for at least my good experiences with comic book to video games.
Good. Let's see. I got so many stories to say. Of course, everyone could say about X-Men. And the sad thing about it is that it's kind of hard to do X-Men justice because it's like you have the different dimensions. You have a dimension where all of them had died and things like that. And then you had another dimension where Cyclops and Jean Grey come together and they have a son named Cable, which is the guy you see on Marvel vs. Capcom 2, the video game. And then you have one where Jean becomes the Phoenix, and you have another one where she gets consumed by the Phoenix. And it's like all these different dimensions that goes on, and it's kind of hard to. And when you look at the movies and all those different things in the video game, the sad thing about it is if you haven't read the comic books, you'll start to see that you get confused in the story because it meshes all the different dimensions together into the particular story. The one that comes to mind is X-Men Legends. That one actually meshes the different dimensions together. Even though it wasn't supposed to, it actually did. And it also did it in X-Men, the X-Men movies, 1, 2, and 3, especially on the third one. And so, if anybody watched at the end, spoiler alert, if you watch at the end, that's when you start seeing the hints of the alternate dimensions and things like that occurs in the X-Men realm. And then next off, my favorite two superheroes, of course, is Iron Man and Spider-Man. And so I remember, what is that game called? In Super Nintendo era. It was called The Avengers. I think that was the first time I played as Iron Man ever in those games, and it was I don't know how to explain it. It wasn't good, but it was addictive because it had the horrible voices and everything, and it's like it sounds nothing like a superhero cartoon or any of them. And I think you had like four people you could choose from, which was Captain America, Vision, Iron Man, and Hawkeye. And whenever I played at the arcade, nobody chose Hawkeye for some odd reason. Everybody chose Vision, Captain America, or Iron Man. And, and
He's a guy with
so,
arrows. He doesn't do anything.
and the other thing that I remember is back in the day, back in the 80s, the first X-Men beat 'em up game on arcade, it was like back in the day you could pick like Cyclops, Wolverine, and you fight people like the Blob, the Juggernaut, and all those different things. And it was like it had the little Ninja Turtles Simpsons feel to it because you could play with like four people at the same time, and you just beating up on the same person and everything. And it had the whole cheesy lines like they did in Ninja Turtles and what's the other game? And The Simpsons as well. Let's see, what other comic book can I think of? Oh, and also, how can I forget about this? I've been playing this game for a while, and I actually been posting posters on Facebook about it. And the first series was actually the first one in the series seemed like it was the hardest to me for some odd reason than the other ones that I played, and that is God of War. God of War actually is a comic book now, and it's a comic book, and then I don't know if they made it into a cartoon. They're looking into making it into a movie if they haven't done that already. And I read the comic book, and it's I'm like, it did not do the game any justice whatsoever. And so it was like they tried a little too hard. The story didn't. I mean, I don't know how to explain it. It wasn't what I expected out of a comic book coming from a game which gave me so much fun throughout the whole time from playing God of War Ascension, God of War Chains of Olympus, God of War Ghost of Sparta, God of War 1, and I'm playing God of War 2 currently, and I haven't played God of War 3 yet. Even played God of War Betrayal that some people haven't even explored as well. The only way you can play that is on your cell phone. So those are some of the things that I could think of that are good in the comic book realm. So with that, let us jump over to the other side and jump into the anime series. Does anybody have any experience in video games, movies, in the anime series?
I think I can lead this one off pretty well. First of all, the thing is about a lot of animes, at least the ones that are animes and mangas in general, especially the ones that are popular here in the West, they're usually going to be a show about fighting. So it's going to be come down to like Naruto, Bleach, Dragon Ball Z, and Pokemon. And usually those are the kind of, well, actually, no, Pokemon actually stars the game first, not an anime or manga. But anyway, so they're going to be, a lot of fighting games, which is perfectly fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But excuse me, I'm sorry. So if you like a lot of fighting games, that's what you're going to get. Then there's other games or other series, which it's not really necessarily. It's a Dynasty Warrior game. I mean, Gundam Dynasty Warriors. That was an interesting one. It's just Dynasty Warriors, pretty much with Gundam skins and voice actors, which is still a really fun game. It's just a little bit different in terms of the Dynasty Warriors series. Then same thing. And then as in terms of movies, I remember there was one, the Rurouni Kenshin movie, which came out last year. Actually, was it last year or year before last? I don't remember, but it actually translated really well, going from an anime to a movie. They did a great job with it, with the effects, with the characters. Most people who've seen it have really enjoyed it. If you guys haven't seen it yet, if you watched Rurouni Kenshin back in the day, you guys would really like it. I think just good old-fashioned samurai movie. Anything else I can think of? Like I said, I think most of it, what's going to translate over here is fighting games. Like you said, so you can get your Bleach fighting games, your Naruto. I really think that's the most you're going to get, honestly, in terms of games over here. Now, over in Japan, I mean, honest with you, I couldn't tell you. I'm sure they have a lot of great games, but for the most part over here, it's going to be fighting. There's some sort of beat 'em ups, and yeah, really, I guess that's my point.
I want to actually continue where both of you actually left off. Going back to what you said, Greg, earlier about universes or different dimensions. The reason why they do that, well, especially in the comic book space, is because when they create like a brand new universe, let's say, for example, you have your basic universe in which everybody is like going off of an established canon, a canon that has been around for 5, 10, 15 years, or maybe even more. When another universe is created, like the Ultimate Universe, it's supposed to give new readers an opportunity to have a start point, to actually rediscover this character and not have to worry about the history behind that character. I mean, once you come into that universe, you can start from there. Everything that you need to know about the character is at the beginning of that universe, and that's where it starts. Say, for example, you have the basic Spider-Man. When you have Peter Parker somewhere in his 20s, in his late 20s, he's looking to be married to Mary Jane Watson, all of that good stuff. Scientists develop his web shooters. All of that good stuff. And then you have the Ultimate Universe in which Spidey, Peter Parker, is only 15 years old and he's a high school kid. So when that universe was created, that was supposed to be a brand new opportunity for new readers of the comic books to jump in and find out about Spider-Man. And then from there, they can discover all the different types of universes out there surrounding the character, the relationships with Spidey. I mean, how Spidey knows Wolverine, how Spidey knows the Fantastic Four, and all that good stuff. You get to read about all of that by linking to different stories and different universes, and you get to discover all of the other characters within the world of Marvel or DC, whatever you want to read. That's pretty much how it works. Now, when it comes to adaptations like what we're talking about today, it gives people who have absolutely no interest in the original format in which their stories were told, like say, for example, comic books, and give new audiences an opportunity to discover what they are. Like say, for example, I'm a video gamer. I came into video games ever since late 80s, right? I would never have discovered X-Men, Spider-Man, or anything like that if I didn't play a Super Nintendo game in which I played as Spider-Man and the X-Men. I discovered comic books through video games, right? And that's pretty much what we're talking about today. I'm going to go back to Street Fighter again. In terms of Street Fighter, of course, I discovered Street Fighter 2 first. And then I discovered about the whole world of Street Fighter. Then I started going to comic book stores religiously simply to pick up the Udon series of comics. I wanted to get a full line of comics to find out how they were going to take all of these characters and try to work them all in, because these guys went crazy. They somehow combined the world of Street Fighter 2, Street Fighter 3, put them all together into this giant world, and they managed to create relationships between all of these characters and make them awesome. And then you got the movies, the animes, the Street Fighter 2 animated movie, Street Fighter Alpha anime. Those were awesome, awesome stuff. And they did the original source material quite well. Adaptations. I don't know what else to say about this particular subject, but yeah.
Let's see. Let's see. I think it's. I hope you ain't talking about the same animated Street Fighter series where Ken was like this airhead person. Are you talking about that?
I'm definitely not talking about the USA cartoon. That's what you're talking about. I'm talking about the actual anime, developed in Japan. We have several different types. You have Street Fighter 2, the animated movie, in which you have Ryu being the main character, who's being sought out by Bison for his power. He wants the power of the Dark Oath himself, but Ryu's trying to fight that power because he doesn't want to use it. He doesn't want to use the power that he wields for killing. So that's pretty much that story. And the Alpha series pretty much takes that storyline, delves more into it, and really focuses on the relationship between Ryu, Ken, and Goki, or AKA Akuma here in the United States. Which really focuses on power, on that dark power, and Ryu's struggle to keep it in check. Very awesome. Those are very awesome works.
Yeah, the one that I'm talking about is let's see, it had cameos with Lento, Cody, because it was like an episode where Ryo and Ken was helping Cody and Hagar to save his daughter and stuff like that. And so you had Ken that was like an airhead, and then you had Cody, which was like this maniac that was just hot-headed all the time. And so it was like the story was pretty like not well thought out, but it had a good concept. It was good to see Capcom characters actually interact with each other, so that was good. Let's see, if I think of anime, I want to ask y'all a quick question.
All right.
Do y'all consider Final Fantasy an anime?
No, not. I mean, no. It's I consider it a video game franchise. A good one, but I consider it a franchise. Yes, yeah, they've had a few like animated movies, and they had the one Final Fantasy, I think the actual movie, but for the most part, no, I do not consider it an anime. I don't consider it a franchise like that in any way, shape, or form. No.
Yeah, that's a very interesting question, because in Japan it's very common for very popular video games to be adapted to manga and anime. There was actually a Final Fantasy anime called Final Fantasy Unlimited.
Really?
Yeah.
But it was not based off of any popular Final Fantasy title, like Final Fantasy 7, 10, 11, anything. It tried to create its own universe, tried to inject a couple of known elements, such as a couple of the Aeons, like Bahamut and stuff like that. But they're only recognizable only by name and not by design or anything like that. So it tried to create its own universe, and they thought that they can get away with it because of the fact that none of the Final Fantasies are actually relatable to each other. You don't need to play 3 in order to know what happened. Know what happened in 2. You don't need to know how to play 6 based on the information that you got from 1. Doesn't work like that. The only things that you need to worry
Wait.
about is
It depends. It depends now. It depends because you gotta know. You gotta understand. Play part 10 in order to understand part 10 too.
that is true. I was about to get to that. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Every single Final Fantasy game had its own universe, had its own set of characters, had its own storyline, and basically the only thing that tied them all together was its like certain elements that are shared between them all, like chocobos and how they perform magic, the names of the magic performed, stuff like that. But that's pretty much it. That's pretty much it. So yeah, but yeah, there was actually a Final Fantasy Unlimited anime, and whether or not it was actually good, that's debatable. But I say no.
Well, I couldn't understand because it was in Japanese. So I couldn't tell you. But there's one character that stayed throughout the whole series, from 1 all the way to where it is now, and that is Sid. Sid was in all of them from part 1, part 2, part 3. He was, I
Because the
think,
second one you have Sid the second, then Sid the third, then Sid the fourth, fifth. Yeah.
wait, oh,
Yeah, you guys are cutting off a little bit.
oh, I'm cutting off. No, I was
Yeah.
just saying, like, where did I cut off on?
No, it was just stuttering, but we understood you. Keep going.
Oh, okay, good stuff. So, like, Sid was the main one in those series. Let's see. Another one that most people don't know about, I think it was called it was a parody of the Fist of the North Star, and it was anime called Crying Freedom. And so with this one, I don't know if they ever made a video game for one, but I know the Fist of the North Star. I remember playing that
You're right.
on the
There was a.
Nintendo.
I remember. I remember there was a Fist of the North Star game. Yeah. There's also a
Yeah,
really
so
terrible movie adaptation too.
yeah, it was. And so that's why I was bringing up Ryan Freeman because it was supposed to be a parody of it, but it was actually better than the actual cartoon itself because it was like the storyline kept you engaged. The only thing that was very appalling was that every time Crime Freeman had to fight, this thing he always had to take off his clothes to fight, and so that was like the factor. Especially when you're a kid, you're watching this guy, he's taking off all his clothes and stuff, and the sad thing is every time he killed someone or he beat up somebody, he starts crying. So it's like it was like confusing because it's like who won? Did he win or did the other person win? And so the good thing about it was I got little understanding because I got an opportunity to see some of it in English. Because when you watch it in Japanese, it's like it's confusing because first off you see this guy taking off his clothes, and then next thing you know, he beating up the people, he fighting the person, and then he ends up being on the crime while the person is laying on the ground. It's like can't help me here. I'm trying to understand this. What is going on in this world?
Oh man, I can't help you there myself. I didn't see Brian Freeman, but I do remember seeing it while I was very young, while discovering anime for during the early years, in the days of Akira and stuff like that on VHS. I did happen to come across um, the box for Crying Freeman. I picked it up, I looked at it, I was like, weird. Put it back down. So I never had the privilege of seeing it. But yeah, it's definitely available in English, whether it be subbed or dubbed. I'm not sure, but even back then, I had access to it. But yeah, it looked too weird from the back of the cover. It didn't, the back of the cover didn't really sell me into trying to actually see that movie or that anime.
Yeah, another one that that came to mind is my favorite character in this series. He was like a emo, but he seemed so cool to me. His name was Hero U, and from the Gundam series.
Hey, you're Gundam Wing.
Yeah, Gundam Wing.
The word would be stoic. Like he just didn't care. He didn't have really any emotions. I still watch the series. Like though it's like, oh wait, you guys don't know, do you? Oh, hold on. I actually have something for this. I just have to be very careful picking him up.
Oh, nice.
Yes, it cost me $25 on Amazon, but I built it. Now I feel so accomplished. It's a high grade. I want to build a master grade at some point, but I don't think I'm good enough for that yet.
And so, as a disclaimer, kid, before there was VR Troopers, before there was Power Rangers, there was all these other types of superheroes that came together and formed, and all this crazy stuff. There was Voltron, and then there was Gundam Wing.
No, Gundam didn't form together. Well,
all the other ones wouldn't exist.
Before Voltron though, wasn't there Sentai? Like actually a Sentai in Japan, like that predated Voltron. Like
I don't know.
I actually have a friend, and he is actually an expert on the old school like Japanese Sentai, like Super Sentai shows.
Let's see, because I think Voltron, that was back early 60s, like 70s. Like,
I thought Voltron was 80s.
What was Ultraman?
I think Ultraman may have been considered a Sentai. I'm not sure. Hold on, I can look it up. I'm typing in Voltron right now.
oh, cool.
Let's see. There's been a lot of variations apparently. The original television series aired in syndication in 1984. Okay, but when did it actually come out? Okay, apparently it is. The original series was created by Peter Keefe and John Ty. No, actually, Voltron is actually an American series. For the longest time I thought it was an anime or a manga. But with the Japanese, Mirai Robo Dodontis, which is, I guess, the inspiration for Voltron, came out in '79. So, like, I probably butchered that name to you. Like, some nerd is, like, hating me right now. But, dude, no. I'm, like, that's the one, like, I've learned being a geek, being a nerd, that's the one thing we hate is when you get something wrong. It's like, say you're, like, driving around the road and, like, the day the new Star Wars movie comes out, because, you know, people are going to, like, be dressed up in costume. And if you really want to mess with them and make them mad, just roll down the window and yell out, Star Trek sucks. And they will get, or Spock sucks, something like that. They will get so mad. Like, it's Star Trek!
Oh, man.
That's my basement dwelling nerd voice, and I feel like such a jerk. But, it's getting everything wrong.
I have to agree with you. There's nothing more scary than nerd rage. I remember one day in which I remember back in the day in which I went over to some game store. I forgot what it was. They were talking about Star Trek because the movie just came out at the time, and the latest movie came out at the time, and I think I may have accidentally talked about Star Wars or mentioned Star Wars. And then one guy just tapped me on the shoulder and said, like, don't talk about Star Wars over there. Get me that guy. And then the guy just attacked me and said, like, what? You're talking about Star Wars? This is Star Trek country, man. You better have good luck finding your game because I ain't helping you. I ain't helping you. It's like,
Wow.
Yeah.
That rage, though.
That's when you walk up to him and say, "Get out of my face," or "I hit you behind my face."
Oh
Seth
my
Fraser's the asshole, man.
Oh my goodness.
That was a good one. That one, you guys can't do that.
Trekkie. Don't mention Star Wars around a Trekkie. I'll tell you this right now, because they're out there and they don't like the other side apparently.
No, they don't.
Wow. Let's see. What else is there? Let's see. You talk about the manga. I'm thinking of another anime that went national. So we talk about, yeah, because that's another thing. Since Power Rangers got their inspirational Voltron and stuff like that, would that be considered anime?
Well,
Even though it's made in America.
No, that was my mistake. I think Voltron is Japanese. I'm just like really, I've already taken my like sleeping medication, and I should be asleep right now, but I'm not. So it's yeah, it's awesome actually. I don't get insomnia, kids. But it's really like I really was. I have no idea. I'm really spacey right now. I apologize. This is why I wanted to do this earlier before I took the medicine. Yeah, because I have to be at work early. Not as early as I usually do, which is why I can actually do it tonight.
Right. While you were talking about that, I wanted to ask whether or not any of the Tatsunoko series actually predated the Sentais that you were talking about as well, because the Tatsunoko has been around for years, decades. I mean, all of the characters that in their universes, I think go back as far as like before 80s, 70s.
Tatsunoko. I'm looking at it right now. It's a Japanese animation company founded in October 1962. 1960s. Okay, that's when. Okay, so they produced Speed Racer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Judo Boy. Yeah. So they started making stuff in the 60s. I don't know how old the came out with Space Age. I don't know actually how old the I can see how old are the Sentai series. I'll Google that. How old are the Super Sentai series? There we go. Super Sentai. The first one was Himitsu Sentai Go Ranger. It came out in March 1977. Is when the Go Ranger first came out. So it's still pretty old.
Yeah.
And Ultraman?
Let's see, Ultraman. It's 1966.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, well, Ultraman like came around during like the big like kaiju era. I mean, Godzilla started what 1954ish. Yeah, 1954 is when the original Godzilla, Gojira, Godzilla, however you prefer to pronounce it, came out. Speaking of which, new movie's coming out. Oh, can't wait. But anyway, that movie's going to be yeah. It came out in 1954, and that's kind of started the whole kaiju era, which some of them are like really great movies, like the older Godzillas, especially. They're the classics. But yeah, that kind of led to like the Ultraman and the Super Sentai stuff, or like kaijus. Which wow, we've really like strung off topic tonight.
Yeah, we did.
Well,
they animate characters, so.
And now we're talking about Super Sentai and kaiju.
Well, we are talking about adaptations, and adaptations are quite huge. I mean, like I said,
correct. Marvel actually did a comic book series of Godzilla, and Hanna-Barbera did the cartoon.
A mess.
Yes, yes. So this is a pretty huge topic, and I still think that even in this hour, we barely scratched the surface. We didn't even talk about the Blood Rain movie because Blood Rain first started off as a video game.
Yeah, we didn't talk about Tomb Raider. We didn't talk about Resident Evil.
I'm very surprised we didn't talk about Resident Evil because those movies. Oh my god.
Well, like a slow start, but now they're actually getting pretty decent. Like I'm not gonna lie, I've enjoyed the last one at least.
Oh, really?
I enjoyed the last one. Like the first one, the first couple ones I had some trouble getting into, but like after like three, I've been really been enjoying them. Uh, let's see what else. It's just like a big conspiracy theory unfolding, just like in the Resident Evil games, like one conspiracy after another. But
Yeah.
what else is there we haven't talked about? Well, we mentioned Tomb Raider a
Well,
little
we
bit.
haven't talked about Transformers either. You know, I don't know any good
Transformers.
Transformers games.
Transformers was an animated series. I mean, if you want to get real technical, so were the Flintstones.
hmm
Yeah, what?
The Flintstones, eh, Fred?
yeah.
My
that's
terrible
bad.
Barney impersonation. I know it's terrible. I accept it. And then there
Yeah.
was oh thanks for rubbing that in. Then there was there's a Speed Racer movie.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's a video
Yeah.
game to go along with that, but I'm just going to assume it's terrible because it was a racing game.
Um,
That was a little biased. I apologize.
I I am interested in seeing the movie on Netflix. Maybe it's still there on streaming. I'm not sure. I haven't checked out the movie yet, but
it was
I mean,
it was cheesy and campy, just like the original Speed Racer. Like when it was like think about the original Speed Racer after it was translated into English, you know, in the dub, and it was like cheesy and kind of weird and stuff. Now imagine that made into a live action movie.
so they speak real fast and end all of their sentences like a home.
No, they
I
don't.
really
No, they
wish,
don't go that
I
far.
wish they would have done it. I really wish they would like to see John Goodman doing
That would
that.
have
Like,
made
if it was
the
John
movie
Goodman
awesome if they did that.
that would have made the movie so
Come
much
on,
more
come
watchable.
on, we gotta go. Go now. No.
I'm actually gonna have to look that up now because I'm trying to think of who was in that movie. English adaptation, not the English adaptation. I want to see the actual like live action movie. Speed Race, nope, not the 1993 film. American comic, American TV series film. Wow, there was a one-act play of Speed Racer.
I can see that.
Why? Why? Here we go,
Like I said,
film.
adaptations, trying to reach out for a greater audience, even the theater.
Oh yes, John Goodman is in the movie, along with Christina
Yeah.
Ricci. Those are the only people I know. Apparently, the film was in development since like 1992, though. That's pretty bad. It was a family film, though, and like it was. Oh, and it actually contained the sound effects from the original TV show too. That's right.
Interesting.
It was. That's the one way I can describe it. Like, because part of me wants to love it because of just childhood. But oh, I'm trying to think.
Yeah,
Was there
but the
anything
thing
else?
was it was a slight difference from the movie and the series. So I think in the movie the car was called the Mach 6, and
Yeah, in the original
um,
in the original series, it was the Mach 5. Yes, you're right. And
yeah,
wait, hold on. I can actually look it up right now. Plot. The will of his brother car, the Mach 5, and his own Formula One car, the Mach 6. Yes.
Hmm.
Yep. Here comes.
I'm intrigued. I may give it a watch just to see what the hell. How could they make such a campy anime series with very limited animation into a movie? I wanna see that. But
yeah. The best time to watch it is at night when you're about to go to bed, because it will put you to sleep.
really now.
Hmm. By the way, while we're talking about random facts, speaking of or comic books and stuff, speaking of which, I saw Captain America 2 last night.
Uh-huh.
Legally, of course, but I saw it. It was good. I really enjoyed it. They also, it's not really a spoiler, but they did make a reference to a man by the name of Stephen Strange.
Really now?
Oh,
Yes.
cool.
So I'm hoping that means Doctor Strange is going to get a movie. Or at least going to be in the Avengers 2, maybe. I don't know, something. And then, of course, at the end of the movie, it was the bonus scene. It showed the Hydra people talking about the twins, and it showed these two people in a cage, and one was Scarlet Witch and one was Quicksilver. So I look forward to that. I started watching Amazing Spider-Man 2, but I got called into work early, and that sucks. So I would probably need to finish that at some point.
Good
Cool.
stuff. Yeah, while we're on that, we probably have to wrap this up because we're coming up on the hour marker.
Yeah.
So with that, who would like to start off with their final words?
No, I gotta say that it was definitely fun trying to set up here at this new location, join you guys tonight. So yeah, thank you all for having me. Once again, my name is Sean Foreman. You can follow me on the Twitterverse at 5LinksKage. That is number 5 LANXKAGE. You can also get an archive of all of my content over at blog2livefree.com. That is blog, the number 2, livefree.com. Feel free to visit me there in order to get, archives of previous episodes of the Gamers Channel, previous episodes of my my gaming series that I do on UV Games, my YouTube channel, UV Games, all of that good stuff. So yeah, be sure to check it out. All right, I'm done.
I guess my main thing I was going to say is I really enjoyed talking about this again, like continuing where we left off. 'Cause first of all, I don't think this has ever actually happened before. We've never really had like a part 2 of like a discussion. It's always kind of ended at the hour, so it was kind of nice to do that. It was a pretty cool little change, and just in general, I think this is a good discussion to have. Like it needed to be had at some point, and it's one discussion I didn't actually have to do a lot of research on or talk out of my ass on because I know movies, I know comics, so it was pretty fun. Yeah. Oh yeah, if you want to get my name is Will Weiniger, aka Xanthus Complex. If you want to get in touch with me, you can follow me on Twitter at WTF Weiniger. Shameless plug. Your turn, Greg.
And words and things?
Oh, words and things. Thank you. I forgot my catchphrase, man. That's why I should be allowed to take medicine.
You can't forget that now. And so I am Greg Stargell, and as you see at the bottom of your screen, I have posted some video games that I have made and some other people have made. And if you want to stand the challenge those, you can click on the website you see below. But then also some of you all have come through here that just came off of YouTube. Be sure to check out the other other episodes we have done. You'll see that we pretty much cover the gamut of everything and help you go down memory lane of different video games, especially when we talk about consoles, arcade, online gaming, and more. Oh my! And so those are some good things to check out. And so it's always great to have Sean and Will here to share with you all about video games as well as the passion behind those. And so with those, I'm giving it one last chance to Will and Sean if they have anything else to say.
Cool. So to provide that invitation, I would like to say is that all of these Gamers Channel hangouts that we do, there are to encourage discussion. So definitely leave a comment below if you have any questions or if you felt that we have said something wrong. Feel free to correct us in the comments. Be sure to share this episode with your friends. Actually, go back and check out our previous episodes, especially there's one burning topic that we all want to get answers to, and that is the debate that we have with Xbox Live versus PlayStation Network. We definitely want to get more information about that. If you have some information that we did not discuss in the previous episode, feel free to go back to it, leave us some comments, and actually give us your opinion on the whole matter. It would be definitely appreciated. That's it.
Awesome, awesome. So with that, I'm closing it off on this episode of the Gamers Channel. Always have fun, play video games, and pick up the sticks. Take care till next time. Peace. And still live.